Hey everybody, Qroo here. Welcome to lesson 10 in the series From Cero to Conversational. In the last lesson, I talked about the verb ser, to be, and in this lesson, I'll be talking about the other Spanish verb for to be, estar. Just a reminder that these verbs are not interchangeable. They're going to be used in very different circumstances. Ser is generally used to describe permanent states and conditions, occupation, and origin. Estar is used to describe temporary states and conditions and location. Estar also has some other uses that we're going to talk about in future lessons, but for right now, just think temporary states and conditions, location. Estar should look familiar because we already used it to describe location back in lesson 4. ¿Dónde está el café? Where's the coffee? El café está en la cocina. The coffee's in the kitchen. Well, today we're going to be focusing on using estar with adjectives and, well, one adverb to describe some temporary states or conditions, and this is going to include emotions. But before we get into that, let's go ahead and review the conjugations for estar in the present tense. Estoy, estás, está, estamos, están. If you need to take a screenshot of that or write it down, go ahead and do that now because you're going to be using these all through this lesson. Many of your conversations in Spanish are going to start with a very simple question. ¿Cómo estás? ¿Cómo estás? How are you? You may be asking this question to someone else, or someone may be asking this question to you. So if they ask you, how are you going to respond? I mean, you could say a lot of things. I'm happy, sad, maybe I'm sick, So we are definitely going to need to add some vocabulary to our Spanish toolbox. So take a look at the screen. These are some common ones. They are all adjectives except for the very first one, bien. That is an adverb. Remember that adjectives are going to agree in number and gender with whatever they're talking about. That's not the case with adverbs. Doesn't matter who we're talking about, masculine, feminine, plural, it's always going to be bien. Fine, okay? Estoy bien. I'm fine. In the United States, when somebody asks you how you are, it's common to say, I'm good. So don't confuse that with Spanish. You're not going to put bueno or buena in there. It's always going to be bien. Next one on our list is contento. Content or happy. This one looks just like English, so it should be easy to remember. ¿Cómo estás? Estoy contento. I'm happy. I'm content. ¿Cómo está María? María está contenta. Maria's happy. But what if Maria's sad? We'll move to the next one on our list. Triste. Triste. María está triste. You'll notice this adjective ends with an E, so we only have to worry if it's singular or plural. It's going to be the same for masculine or feminine. Juan está triste. Juan's sad. María está triste. Maria's sad. Ellos están tristes. They are sad. The next one on our list is enojado. Enojado, which means angry. María está enojada. Maria's angry. And you can say that somebody's angry with someone by dropping in that little word con, which means with. María está enojada con Juan. Maria's angry with Juan. Next one, deprimido. Deprimido. And that means depressed. ¿Cómo está Juan? Juan está deprimido. ¿Por qué? No sé. Next one down is nervioso. Nervioso. Nervous. ¿Por qué estás nervioso? Why are you nervous? Or if I'm talking to a female, ¿por qué estás nerviosa? And the last one on our list is for when someone is sick. Enfermo. Enfermo. To practice these, I'd recommend pretending that somebody asked you, hey, ¿cómo estás? And you answered right down the list. Estoy bien. Estoy contento. Estoy triste. Estoy enojado. Estoy deprimido. Estoy nervioso. And estoy enfermo. And if you want to say you're not any of these things, all you have to do is drop the no right before the verb. No estoy bien. I'm not okay. No estoy contento. I'm not happy. No estoy triste. I'm not sad. No estoy enojado. I'm not angry. No estoy deprimido. I'm not depressed. No estoy nervioso. I'm not nervous. No estoy enfermo. I'm not sick. So if I asked you, ¿Cómo está María? And Maria's sick, what would you say? Well, you'd have two options. You could name Maria in your response. María está enferma. Or you could drop Maria. Está enferma. She's sick. I know I've said this many times before, but I'm going to say it again. In Spanish, it's very common to drop the subject from the sentence if it's clear from the verb conjugation or context who we're talking about. ¿Cómo están los hermanos? How are the brothers? Están bien. They're fine. Or están enfermos. They're sick. Now I want to specifically talk about the adjectives alive and dead, vivo y muerto. They will always use estar, always. And Spanish students will often ask things like, well, isn't dead very permanent, so shouldn't that be ser? Don't overthink the whole, permanent states or conditions or temporary states. Some things aren't going to fit perfectly, and this is one of them. Just remember that with alive, vivo, and dead, muerto, you're going to always use estar. Estoy vivo, I'm alive. La ardilla está muerta, the squirrel's dead. Another common adjective that doesn't fit in our box really well and sometimes confuses beginning Spanish students is the adjective feliz, feliz, and it means happy. And I know I said contento is happy. Well, this is another word that means happy, and it's super common. But you'll see it used with both ser and estar. You may see soy feliz, I'm happy, and estoy feliz, I'm happy. The choice of ser and estar with this particular word will change a little by region. Some places will be like, oh, you should only say soy feliz. You should never say estoy feliz. But through most of Latin America, you're seeing estoy feliz more. And the way native speakers often describe it is they're like, okay, if I'm generally happy, then soy feliz. I'm just a happy person. But if I'm happy in this moment, then I'm going to say estoy feliz. Now it's your turn to practice. I'm going to be giving you a sentence like the one that appears on the screen, and you're going to have to determine which verb fits best in there, ser or estar. Oh, and you're also going to have to conjugate it too, so you might want to review those conjugations before attempting this. Once the sentence appears on the screen, you'll have a few seconds to answer, and then I'm going to give you the answer. Ready? Let's start with the one that's up there. Juan is my friend. Juan es mi amigo. Juan es mi amigo. Juan is in the kitchen. Juan está en la cocina. Juan está en la cocina. Maria is from England. María es de Inglaterra. María es de Inglaterra. My neighbor is depressed. Mi vecino está deprimido. Mi vecino está deprimido. Maria and Juan are sad. María y Juan están tristes. María y Juan están tristes. I'm a little nervous. Estoy un poco nervioso. Estoy un poco nervioso. The bird is dead. El pájaro está muerto. El pájaro está muerto. Maria is angry with Juan. María está enojada con Juan. María está enojada con Juan. So how'd you do? Did you get them all correct? If you did, that's awesome. Give yourself a big pat on the back. If you didn't, you might want to review this lesson again before moving on to the next one because they get progressively more difficult. Before I end the lesson, I want to talk about a very important component to being conversational in Spanish, and that is listening comprehension. And as we all know, being able to understand native speakers is one of the most difficult aspects of learning Spanish. They seem to talk so fast, their words are running together, and most likely they're using a lot of vocabulary you're unfamiliar with. It's natural. This is a progression to get there. Now, it's important that you understand that the lessons in this series are not designed to help you with listening comprehension. I mean, sure, you are hearing some of the examples that I'm saying, but that's not the same thing. You need to be doing certain things to work on your listening comprehension apart from taking these lessons. Fortunately, I have another video with tips to do just that. I'll include a link to it in the description section of this video, and I'll also try to include a link to it at the very end of this video, so just keep watching and hopefully it'll pop up. Well, that's it for today. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, just do me a favor and give it a thumbs up. And until next time, hasta luego.